player.
Welcome back for the last time when we take you to a feature match, the finals of YCS Prague.
The finals.
The finals.
They're here.
608 players showed up yesterday morning, bright and early. 7 rounds of intense competition. We cut down those 628. 128 remained in the field for the start of day 2. After 3 more rounds, 32. And now a few more cuts in the knockout portion and only 2 players are left. Let's take a look at the top 16 bracket, how these guys ended up in the finals. There we have them. Denis Beqiri on the left, kicking out some of the most accomplished players in the game. Patrick Reeder, YCS champion, London 2013. Fabio Polito, runner-up the last YCS in Milan. Alpay Eggen, 2-time YCS champion in Bochum in Germany, and I think Leipzig in Germany. So, wow, he had quite the monsters to overcome to make it to the finals. On the other side, we got Valens Leteutre from France, going up against Tadej Sinrai, then Piran Aski, who kicked out Michel Grüner, and Piran Aski also made it to the tops of the major events a couple of times, and just now in our semi-finals feature match, overcoming Sona Günger and his Nekroz deck. Valens is playing Burning Abyss, Denis is playing Nekroz.
Now we have an exciting final for you, because it is pretty much almost the same game that we saw before, but now we're looking at a pilot that was able to knock out Alpay
Engen, yes.
Yeah, who was doing so well in the tournament, only losing 1 game all the way up until the semi-finals.
Exactly, so Alpay winning 24 games in a row, absolutely undefeated. Added a 25th victory, then took 1 game, well, his opponent Chris Bowes took game 1 from him, my god.
It was there eventually.
And then eventually Alpay making it to the semi-finals, but his streak was done.
Was cut short by Dennis. Now, we haven't actually featured him at all this weekend.
Yeah, he was flying under the radar.
Yeah, so suddenly he is here, and we need to get used to that.
Yeah. Very interesting story as well is he is Italian, and that could be the 3rd time in a row that an Italian player wins a Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series in Europe. And also keep in mind that Marcello, roughly 6 months ago, was the first player to the first Italian player to ever win a YCS. His decklist says he's German, but I'm pretty certain he's Italian. Or at least the judge was writing it down that he's German. All right, so let's take you to the table where we got Denis on the one hand side and Valens Leteutre from France on the other side.
Now, they're just rolling their dice to start off with. And we're just letting them know that they're allowed to start. Now that's just a card that's left over from the previous game.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I was so in my in my intro here. Denis just talked to Federico Soppini in Italian prior to the match, so he is hanging out with all the Italian guys. He is Italian, I'm 100% certain. All right, so Italy versus France in the finals, and we see the Dance Princess of the Nekroz that was played in the semi-finals feature match that we just saw a second ago.
I did actually force the activation of a Fire Lake of the Burning Fist quite masterfully.
Right, and both players have showed or revealed their hands to our volunteers that are standing right behind them. And with that, they are free to go. It is time to duel in the finals of YCS Prague. This is the hand of Valens Leteutre, who just kicked out Sona Günger. By the way, we had Valens Leteutre yesterday in the very last round of Swiss. He was on the bubble, going up against Yusenyu. And he had to overcome an opponent with a deck that he didn't really see that often before. There were 1 or 2 questionable plays, but today he is a different player.
Yeah, completely.
Tearing.
Assembled professional, and they're just sharing a bit of a laugh.
All right, and here we go. Let's take a look at Denis' hand here. He's got a Manchu, a Senchu, Effect Veiler, Preparation of Rites, and Shurit.
Just informing the players there that they can start the match.
Yes, and well, they have started the match, but it doesn't look that different because thinking is what's happening at the moment.
Okay, so we have Denis starting now.
Yes, and that's going to be either the Senchu or the Manchu. I think he's going with the Manchu of the 10,000 hands.
Now that's a quite a nice card. Allows you to get either a monster or a spell card, just like Herald of the Arclight there. Now that's a Kaleidoscope he's going for, so he's definitely going to be ready. Now he does have a Preparation of Rites as well, which allows him to go and get one of his ritual monsters there as well. There is no target in the graveyard, but that doesn't matter. He can still go and get his Bryonic. And as usual, dropping the Bryonic straight into the graveyard.
Yeah, he never stays long on the hand. Interestingly enough, our Twitch chat is split down the middle. Both players have amassed an equal number of votes. So it really seems like there is no clear favorite here.
No.
This is the rest of the hand of Denise. Beqiri.
Now, Shurit is now in the graveyard. And the Kaleidoscope has brought out a Valkyrus. He's just searching there. And I believe he's got a Clausolus.
Yes.
Clausolus,
yes,
being
indeed.
a warrior-type monster.
All right. There might be the first of many cuts if he has a few more searches here. Is he going to keep the Clausolus? No. He's sending it together with his Manchu to the graveyard to draw 2 cards for the effect of Nekroz of Valkyrus. Such a versatile card, really.
Now, he's leaving a big monster down there as well. He's just setting a Mystical Space Typhoon, which he was just able to draw with his Valkyrus there.
And play is
Eagles.
back to Valens for the first time. And
he-
unlike yesterday, but like in the semi-finals, he has a good hand to start and, well,
It has
shift gears
just-
from the very beginning.
Yep, and it has just been stopped dead in its tracks, though, by an Effect Veiler.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a very long time. Tour Guide being such an important card a long while ago, and then players desperately trying to find ways to stop it, and that was when Effect Veiler was at the height of its popularity, I would say. Nowadays, you rarely see your opponent stopping yourself from resolving a Tour Guide. So his field now, the Mind Crush, the Phoenix Wind Blast. That Mind Crush has been crucial in all of the games we've seen so far with him. It's one of the best answers to a Ritual Summon.
It's one of the best answers to any search as well.
Yes.
Mystical Space Typhoon in the end phase, I believe. No, he's thinking about it. I don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Here we go. So here is the Senju.
And also the Denko Sekka in the main deck. So both these players have some cards that are typically being added to the side decks with the Mind Crush and the Denko Sekka in the main deck. So they were expecting those matchups and they came prepared for them.
Ooh, and he's going Phoenix Wind Blast onto the Valkyrus.
Discarding a Skarm.
So what he's thinking there is, maybe if I get that on top of the deck, and then he goes and searches out a monster, I can get rid of it with Mind Crush.
That is very, very likely, I think. And 2 cards remaining in Valens' hand. That's a Mathematician and a Farfa, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss.
So it returns to the top of the deck, and it's also going to be shuffled in because of the search.
Yes.
Very nice play.
So that Book of Eclipse in the back row for Denise in the middle. Well, one of the few cards that he uses for protection, apart from that Valkyrus that we just saw being sent back to the graveyard, back to the deck.
Book of Eclipse. Fantastic. Stopping any sort of Jin lock in the mirror match and also adding cards to your opponent's hand. So Trishula will have targets.
All right, now we got 51% of the votes for Denise. So apparently we got a few more Italian fans than we have French fans. Or to put it differently, we have a few more fans of the Nekroz archetype than we have fans of the Burning Abyss.
But it's still almost equal.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of day 2, Burning Abyss only representing 6% of the field. At this point in time, they represent 50% of the field.
Yes.
Talk about a rise in numbers.
Okay, so here we go. He's drawing his card.
Yes, let's take another look at the hand of Valens.
And
Second
there
tour
goes the
guide.
second tour guide.
And immediately he summons it to the field. And now there is no more Effect Veiler stopping him from resolving that. There's a Seer bringing out that demon. That's going to bring back something from the graveyard. And he overlays the tour guides.
Into a Dante. Pretty standard play there.
Yes. Sometimes he prefers mech-equipped engineer, but most of the time he likes Dante.
Yeah, at this point, Mech-Equipped Engineer would just be more of a hindrance than a help. He is going to get a Scam effect at the end of the turn. Hopefully he has, well, he should have one more Tour Guide in deck.
Yes.
Whether he decides to go for Tour Guide or not, of course, is all of his choice.
Yeah. There's the attack with Dante.
And there's the Book of Eclipse.
That is interesting because it will allow Valens to draw 2 cards. Isn't that too much of a disadvantage for Denise?
Now, there's a Nekroz Bionic, and there is a Denko Sekka. So, we're just... maybe he's thinking, maybe I don't have to worry about it because of that. Now, he knows that Bionic is in hand. Now, he's just actually checking.
Yeah, players making sure that they got all of the effects correctly.
So, when does the flip out and when does the draw happen?
Yeah. And there we go. He's first searching for Scam. And yeah, well, I mean, the question asking the judge to make sure that everything is being resolved in the correct order, so important to not mess up your moves. Because Valens just, well, I don't want to say he reached the finals because of that, just because of that, but it was definitely playing a role that his opponent, Sona Günger, did make an illegal activation in the semifinals.
Now, unless, just sorry to interrupt, looking at this, unless he activates that Mind Crush right now, he is going to have a problem. Nope, there is the problem. there is the problem. It's Denko Sekka. It's big.
And also it shuts down the back row of Valens.
And that has also allowed him to flip some of the Manju to be able to go and get himself another ritual monster.
But Valens did draw for the Book of Eclipse. So now his hand... He's got a fresh hand, really, with Mathematician, a Farfa, a Tour Guide, a second copy of Mathematician, and an Upstart Goblin. All right, so let's bring up Denko Sekka. A card that first made big waves in London and in Milan.
Yes, back when it came out in the new Challengers.
So, Denise searching for that Manchu, a Senchu of the 1,000 hands, not of the 10,000 hands.
So this one only has enough hands to be able to reach a monster.
Yeah. It's also quite interesting that you need 9,000 more to find a ritual spell card.
Yeah.
All right, he's checking his graveyard. And Valens, again, pretty nonplussed there. And he found something. That is the Nekroz of Clausulas that he adds to his hand. And immediately discarding it, of course, again searching this time for a ritual spell.
It's just a little bit of a camera shake there.
Yeah. I think apparently somebody ran against the construction that we have here that holds the camera in place. But at this time, more than understandable, it is 7 p.m. local time, and we started 10 hours ago this morning. All right, so the hand of Denise, Mystical Space Typhoon, Nekroz of Brionek, Senju of the 1,000 Hands. We're most likely going to see another search.
The Bionic has already gone to the graveyard there. He now has a Trishula and a mirror.
There is the mirror banishing the Clausulas and the Unicorn. And
yeah, he has nothing to fear
from
that back row.
Thanks to that Denko Sekka. And so important because Valens felt pretty safe thanks to the Vanity's Emptiness and the Mind Crush. 2 answers to a ritual summon. Both answers shut down by 1 card, Denko Sekka. A real 1-2 punch that allows Denise Beqiri to gain the lead in the finals of YCS Prague. This is looking really good for Italy.
Now, at the moment, he does have a comeback, which would be, although Vanity's Emptiness would fall to the Mystical Space Typhoon, he can summon the tour guide, make something big enough to run over Denko Seka. Then he's got Mind Crush live, and he also has the Vanity's Emptiness live.
Yes, but still, you can't help but feel happy if your name is Dennis Beqiri or if you happen to root for the Italian here. This couldn't have gone much better for him.
No, it's going extremely well for him. He's playing extremely well, and you can tell exactly why he's in the finals.
Yeah, that's often very interesting. You haven't seen the player once that weekend, but just by looking at the opponents, you know that he needs to be a master. All right, so Valens, I think he went searching during the end phase still. Is that correct? For that Skarm? Yes.
Yes, he did.
He did. And now he's got another Skarm and a Libic with the tour guide, a third tour guide, in fact, already waiting on his hand.
Now, there's no special summons here from the Malebranche themselves, as there are set cards on the field.
Yeah, let's bring up one of them for you. And what would you do if you were Valens? Will you start with the tour guide again?
Yes. Currently, start with the tour guide.
And there we go.
Possibly get a graph. The effect I was talking about there is if you control no spell or trap cards, you can special summon this card from your hand.
Yes. So there is the tour guide. So he finds a good way around that restriction, really. If not the best way, in fact.
Yep, because tour guide from the underworld, bringing out a monster, negating its effect so it won't be destroyed.
Yes. Working around the restriction that all of these Malebranche of the Burning Abyss have. They will destroy themselves if you have a monster that is not a Burning Abyss monster.
Okay, and interestingly,
there's a Dante detaching a Seer, hitting another Seer, an Upstart Goblin, and a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Not exactly the ideal targets.
No, so that graph that he just discarded there, he will be able to bring out another monster.
Wasn't it Seer?
No, that was a graph.
Okay.
Graph is the dog, Seer is the pig. And there's a Seer. So a Goblin, pay 1,000 life points. Well, it's essentially paying 1,000 life points. It's giving it to your opponent.
Yeah, it's slightly better than paying because you are still going to hang in the game, even if you only have 900 remaining. But your opponent is going to have a little bit more time to come back. All right, so Senju being sent to the graveyard after the attack of Seer.
And Denko Seka as well.
Dante attacking over Denko Seka. And now Valens does no longer have to fear the Denko Seka effect. And Trishula is also gone, so two big aces in the hand of Denise have been used. Valens is still hanging in there. That is definitely good news for him. And with that hand, not quite up to date, there we go. He still has a number of options.
Even if he were to Mind Crush and declare something that wasn't in the hand, he still has the almost chance of dropping Farfa.
Yeah.
Farfa then banishing something on the field.
So you have to keep in mind, even though he just took a very severe beating, the best combos of Denise's deck, hitting him, a Trishula and the Denko Seka shutting him down, he's hanging in there. Now his back row is definitely live with the Mind Crush and with the Vanity's Emptiness.
Now there on the Nekroz side of the field, there is a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yes, so Denise does have one answer to those two cards.
There is also an Effect Veiler there as well. At this point, not necessarily helping.
There's the Senju, and the search is going to be fine. And a quick check of the graveyard. You are not allowed to take a card from your graveyard, but most of the time the players want to know what's in their graveyard.
I think he's just having a quick check. Have I taken all my Closyluses? Have I taken all my Bryonics?
Yes. And what is your target here?
Generally, if you're going for it, you're looking for
Bryanek.
or Clauselus. You're looking for cards that are going to help you here. And there's the Bryanek.
And it's probably not going to stay in the hand, just as it almost always does. Although, in this particular matchup, Bryanek sometimes gets summoned to the field.
That is true. Oh, he's just, it looks like he's just attacked there.
Yes.
Surprisingly, there was no activation of the Mind Crush.
And then he passes play with the Mystical Space Typhoon, Effect Veiler, and Bryanek in the hand. Now, I think he feels pretty safe thanks to that Effect Veiler. His Space Typhoon, he doesn't want to set it because there's a very good chance that Valens has something to take out that Mystical Space Typhoon immediately.
Now, at the moment, he's normal summon options. Possibly looking at...
Lots.
Oh, he has a mask change too as well.
Ooh. Many monsters on the hand, in Valens' hand, and at the same time Sir on the field, so that would be a target for that mask change too. That was...
Okay, that's a normal summoned Farfa. He's just checking there for Farfa's effect.
Yes, and there we have an Exceed summon, as we see so often from the Burning Abyss player.
That is a wind-up Zen mains.
Wow, that is...
And there's the Effect Veiler.
So, but the Effect Veiler can only be ditched in the main phase.
So he can't actually do it during the battle phase.
Yes. So that means Valens gets to, well, reconsider whether he wants
whether he was attacking or not. Yes, it's correct.
So most likely he's not going to advance to the battle phase just now. He can still decide what to do.
He's going to attack.
He still attacks, but a different target. All right. This is not exactly a replay, but the same result in a way. He gets to choose a different card. And since the Effect Veiler only shuts down the Zen mains for one turn, he is in a pretty good position with that Zen mains. He can still use it to take out the Trishula at a later point in time.
Now he also has a Farfa attached to it, meaning that he can banish a monster on the field as well.
Yeah. It's one of the first playable or very playable rank 3 Exceed monsters, and that was the original reason why Tour Guide was becoming such a popular card.
Yeah. Now Bryanek has gone to the graveyard.
Yes, and in Denis' hand we see a Nekroz of Decisive Armor and a Mystical Space Typhoon.
And I can see that Unicorn going straight to the graveyard with a Mind Crush.
That would be one option. I think that Valens is most likely going to wait for an activation of a ritual spell.
Such as that one, yes.
Such as that one, for example, yes. There is the Nekroz Mirror for Denis.
Unfortunately, Nekroz Mirror targets the graveyard, not the hand.
Yeah, but I think for every ritual summon, you need to announce what ritual monster you're going to summon.
Oh, this is true, but it can also summon from the graveyard.
Yes. But still, you have to announce what you're going to summon.
Mm-hmm. So Mind Crush doesn't discard from the graveyard.
But
that's the issue.
Okay. Sorry.
It's fine.
I wasn't following you right there. And yes, after 10 hours, well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Valens now thinking hard, and
he's going to Mind Crush the mirror now.
Which is not as effective as that card usually tends to be. He gets to see the rest of the hand of Denis, which is the MST and the Nekroz of Decisive Armor.
No,
and Trishula doesn't want to attack. That's a first, I think.
Well, it's going to destroy it.
Yeah,
basically. Now he's got a Decisive Armor there, so he knows he can make the defense 1,000 higher than it is currently. Now, what is the defense of Trishula there?
That's 2,000.
So that's going to be 3,000 defense.
Yeah. Valens, in the meantime, did draw into a Foolish Burial.
Now, that does mean that he can just put Farfa directly into the graveyard. I believe he's running more than... Yes, he is running 2.
He's running 2 copies, exactly. So, and he is doing the maths, I think. And still, interestingly enough, I think his so far his Vanity's Emptiness is doing more harm than good.
Well, not right now. I believe he's thinking about it because he's not activating it yet. He's got a good opportunity to activate it, and it's going to be when his opponent's trying to special summon something. He, of course, doesn't know that his opponent has a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Oh, he does know after the Mind Crush.
Oh, yes, of course he does, and that's why he sat there with it thinking, I can't activate this anymore. I can't really let my opponent know what it is.
Yeah. So he cannot really feel safe with that card. Normally you can, at least to some degree. How many Mystical Space Typhoons is Denise playing?
He is running one in the main deck, so this is his only one.
Yeah.
Okay, and I believe he's...
So Zen Mines is leaving play.
Okay.
Do we know for what effect?
I did not catch it.
Yeah, while we were looking at the deck list, something happened. And Valens bringing out a graph.
From the graveyard using Sears effect. Oh, he banished it using Farfa's effect.
Ah, so he banished his own card. Yes, that is of course a possibility. We just don't see that this often.
No.
So now he's going for Dante. That is a little bit easier to understand because we see that quite a few times at, well, every game really of the Burning Abyss.
And Graph is going to get its effect there.
Yep. And that means another special summon. And with the mask change too, he could follow that up with the hero, the law.
The Dark Law.
The Dark Law, yes. There is Seer. If he goes for Dark Law, the problem is that if Seer returns a Burning Abyss monster, it would be sent straight back to the graveyard.
Sears effect has already activated this turn.
Ah, so
It special summoned the Graph there.
well, not excellent, but that means he cannot really make use of that card as much as he usually does. All right. So is he going to attack the Trishula? And do you think that the Decisive Armor would be dropped to save Trishula?
There's the the mass change. I know that he is running Maxi in his deck, but okay. So Dark Law attacks, and he lets it go, and it's banished because anything that goes to the graveyard is going to be banished.
Yeah, it's a Macrocosmos on Lex is what some people said.
Yep. Now, looking at it as well, if he wants to banish the cards to get Ritual spell card back to his hand, he's going to also be banishing a card in his hand.
A random card.
Yes.
So that's going to interfere with his game plan a lot.
And then Zenmain's come back.
Yeah, although it's a better Macrocosmos because only the cards that are sent to your opponent's graveyard are being banished instead.
Yeah. And what has he got set down there? He's got Vanity's Emptiness, and I believe he may have... I'm not too sure.
I think the
It's not quite
foolish burial.
The Foolish Burial, yes.
Is a bluff in the back row. So the Dark Law really putting Denise under a lot of pressure, who only has 3 cards in hand. Space Typhoon, a Unicorn, and a Decisive Armor. And he needs to go searching, I think. And if he does...
he will have something banished immediately.
Yeah.
Although he can just discard Unicorn, and he has taken the bait.
Wow, so the MST hits the wrong
Foolish
card.
Burial.
And that means suddenly the Vanity's Emptiness is going to play a major role in that game. Even though it might be over in just a second if that Dark Law hits the right card, right?
Well, it's over now anyway.
Thanks to that Vanity's Emptiness.
That's it.
Yeah. So Denise doesn't see the writing on the wall because, well, it's face down. In
Well, it's been face down for a long time.
Yeah, in Valens' back row. He might be thinking that it's a dead card.
After seeing the Foolish Burial go to the graveyard as well, yes, definitely.
Yeah, he might be thinking, okay, my opponent likes to set cards that don't really do anything in the back row.
Oh, no, he's just setting some cards.
No, this is the random effect. And
yep, he's banished the Ritual spell card again.
I think he does have another one. Yes.
He does.
There goes the Kaleidoscope. and he's emptying his graveyard here, trying to find something desperately. However, it's not going to
It's not going to help. This is this.
Well, it's so frustrating. It must be so frustrating for Denis, trying to do something, trying to come back here, when in fact he cannot. And that is all because of this one card.
And I'm pretty sure Valens is going to be extremely... So he's got the mirror. He's going to be extremely anxious as well.
Yeah.
Ready to be able to just spring that and say, I have won.
There is the Vanity's Emptiness after the activation. Is for whatever reason, Dark Law should still trigger first, I think.
I think he's just shown it.
Yeah, he's just showing him, okay,
wow.
This is
That was fantastic.
Valens Leteutre taking the first game of the finals of YCS Prague. And who would have thought that at the beginning of yesterday, when Burning Abyss was only sending 8% or off the field into the tournament, really, dropping to 6% at the start of day 2. And well, then these guys, 6% of the top 32 sounds like a little, and it is. That translates to 2 decks. One of them, Valens Leteutre. And I gotta say, at this point in time, he is the clear favorite to win this final.
Is he at the moment? Hey, I believe you've actually got the poll there as well.
Let's check what you guys have been saying.
Of course, at the moment, on the stream, you guys haven't actually seen that he's won yet,
Yeah,
but
we got the
you
5 minutes.
understand it.
Yeah, 38% of you think that Valens is going to win. But I think if you still continue to vote, that is going to change.
Yeah, that's going to change quite quickly.
All right, let's take a look at the side decks. The most important card in Valens' side deck in the game that we saw before in the semifinals was Mistake.
Yes, Mistake immediately shut down his opponent. There was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
Now
he's only playing 1 copy though.
Yeah, and he did draw it in his opening hand, which is one of the reasons why he won so quickly. Now, Dennis has got a Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, a Denko Seka, another one, just to make things a little bit more consistent with that.
Yeah. 2 copies of Fairy Wind, not going to do much. And 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon, not... Well, he might be introducing those.
Vanity's Emptiness himself.
Yeah.
He's running 3 copies of Twister, which will help him get rid of the Vanity's Emptiness and the Mistake.
Yeah, and some card that does something with possession.
Yes, we're just having a look. It's not in a language that we speak. We do have a translation, however.
Yeah, so...
I believe that it's a Snatch Steal.
Strappa Possesso, and that is
Snatch
indeed
Steal. Yeah.
a Snatch Steal. So yeah, Strappa Possesso is the Italian name of the card. Interestingly enough, he's not running it in the main deck. This card has been the topic of discussion earlier today when one player, Yannick Siegmund, in his match, offered his opponent to side out of the card if his opponent would in turn also side out of the card.
Yeah, it was Chris Bowers who was asking
yes.
him. Yeah, and Yanis was not having any of it. He was like, "No, I need this card to beat you."
Yes, and in both games, in fact, Snatch Steal allowed one player to gain control of a card, and then immediately on the following turn, the opponent's Snatch Steal turned things around one more time, and the monster was fighting for the original controller. All right, this is game 1 of the finals. Valens Leteutre taking Burning Abyss not just to the finals, but claiming the lead. Still, Denis Beqiri seems to be in a pretty cheerful mood here. And off we go with the second game.
And as you can just hear in the background, all of the players have just heard who has won the first game.
In case you guys are wondering, the written coverage, unfortunately, is not up to date because we have some technical difficulties. Even though you guys can watch it on the front end, our back end is not working.
Okay, here we go. It looks like Dennis is going first, I believe.
Yes. We don't have the contents of both players' hands yet. Did you see anything that he drew into?
And no, the cards were drawn face down on the field.
Ah, okay. But we got the help of our 2 dedicated volunteers, Michael on the left-hand side Ryan on the right side.
It's actually Valens that's going first there.
Yeah, and now we got the first cards coming in. So Denise got Nekroz of Bryanek, a Shurich strategist of the Nekroz. However, Valens is going first with an upstart Goblin.
And he's got his Foolish Burial, which sends Graf. Graf is then able to special summon.
Yes.
Oh, he has not got a fantastic hand there.
Not exactly, no. Very reactive hand, and that's not what he wants to have. He wants to be the aggressor, really.
Now, having the Seer there, the mass change too, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because he will be able to bring out a Dark Law immediately. The issue is with that. Oh, he does also have a Seer in his hand, so he can overlay for Dante.
Yeah, so he does have some sort of good opening.
Yeah, which is going to allow...
That's a Farfar.
I believe that's either Farfar or it's Libic.
Libic, oh. Keep mixing those two.
Libic and Farfar do actually look very, very similar.
Yeah.
That's the issue with it.
All right, let's look at Denise's hand. His opening. They are a lot better, in my opinion, than Valens' opening hand.
Yeah.
So,
Mystical Space Typhoon immediately taking out the mass change. And is he chaining it? Yes, he is. He's dropping a mass change, sending the Graf to the graveyard, and bringing out the Dark Law. Now, unfortunately for Valens, there is an Effect Veiler in Denis's hand.
but can you drop it on your own turn?
No, it's only in your opponent's turn. You have got me correct there.
All right. So, yes, very good news for Valens. Very bad news for Denise again. What can he do here? He could search with Bryanek, but that would only put him behind. Because of the Dark Law, he needs to go searching with Preparation of Rites. Do you agree with that play here?
Well, he has to do it. He has nothing else he can do. I mean, he could drop Nekroz of Bryonic, but the problem with that is a Dark Law only cards that are sent from the field, or is it from hand as well?
So, just real quick, Valens has one more card in hand. That's an Effect Veiler, so he's got some defense, really. There is the Dark Law. It says once per turn, if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand.
I'm talking about the first part. Any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. That is quite ridiculous, actually. Can we just check Effect Veiler there and the wording on it? Just give it a moment.
Yeah, that Effect Veiler.
And you have to be able to send it from your hand to the graveyard, meaning that Effect Veiler can't actually work under Dark Law.
Yeah, not Denise Effect Veiler. While Valens Effect Veiler is still very much active. So the Preparation of Rites is going to search Denise a card. At the same time, it's going to cost him a card from his hand. It's going to be a random card. He needs to be hoping that it hits the Effect Veiler, which doesn't do anything at the moment, or the Twister.
Now, Klaus Solus has entered the hand.
Right. And now with Bryanek and Klaus Solus, he's going to get another search no matter what happens. Now the Dark Law kicks in, or should kick in. Yes, that's why Denise is currently shuffling his hand. And he lays out the hand in front of him. And
yeah, he just picks. It's the Klaus Solus.
It's the Klaus Solus, okay. So he lost that first search, the Preparation of Rites, not netting any card advantage. And I think that's the first time we've ever seen that.
Now let's just have a look.
And now the Nekroz of Bryanek, the only card that Denise has that helps him to find something, really.
Let's check the wording on the card there.
What are we looking for?
No, I was just checking for the wording, possibly if it said to the graveyard, and it does not.
So, Denise, of course, cannot discard the Bryanek because, again, he cannot send cards to the graveyard. I keep forgetting these effects.
Well, actually, I was just checking to whether it said to the graveyard or not, and on Klaus Solus, it does not say to the graveyard, so I don't know whether the wording is different on Bryonic.
All right. In any case, Denise is completely shut down. That's what we can agree on here. He's only got a Twister in his back row, whereas Valens just drew into a tour guide, and that is a very big deal. He can apply a lot more pressure now. I think he drew into the Vanity's Emptiness and went searching for the tour guide? No.
Here we go. Yes. No, he drew for turn, got Vanity's Emptiness.
Right, and the tour guide was from the
Scarm earlier, yes. Now, this is
huge. This is huge. This looks a lot like Burning Abyss. It's not just doing well, but might be taking the finals of YCS Prague.
Currently, it would actually
How much damage
Doing
is
the
that?
math, 2,500, 5,000, 7,400.
It's 2,524.
That is it. He can actually complete the game here. Because Graf can also special summon.
So he sends 3 cards to the graveyard. Dante going up to 2,500, and then
He's just attacking directly there. He's not taking any chances.
yes. Well, still 4 attacks connecting, and that is hurting Denise Beqiri quite a lot. Valens Leteutre taking the game really, thanks to that masked hero Dark Law this way, and.
There is the Nekroz engineer to make sure that the Dark Law cannot be destroyed, and there is
a downward magician. Wow.
Huge play.
Very, very huge play, very huge swing. And keep in mind, he still has an Effect Veiler and a Vanity's Emptiness. You could not feel much better than him in that situation.
Exactly. He is completely protected.
He's got so many nails in the coffin of Denise Beqiri. I think he needs a wonder to come back here. And he's got a Bryanag, a Shurit, and an Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is, at this point in time, a dead card. You can only use it as a tuner. That's pretty much it. Shurit, not going to put up much of a fight.
If he puts Bryanag, it's going straight to remove from play. He won't be able to have any... So he won't have a monster and a ritual card at the same time. It's impossible for him to get that now.
Yeah.
And I believe that Shurit doesn't need to be sent to the graveyard for it, although Valkyros has just been drawn there.
So he discards the Bryanag. Doesn't need to go to the graveyard, apparently.
I do believe that that is going to be the Claw Solus.
And now keep in mind that the Dark Law is going to kick in again.
It is.
And either Dennis just realized that. I don't think that is the case.
Yeah, if we could bring you...
Yeah, it just says you can discard this card. It doesn't need to go to the graveyard.
Yes, we're just going to bring you actually to the table so you can see the cards that the players are playing there.
Yes, and Denise thinking very long and hard about what to do here. And what is he going to take? Well, is there? He's got a Twister on his field, so he can still use the Twister. And he adds a Dance Princess. This is when you search for Dance Princess.
Yes, although looking at it, it's...
So again, him placing the 4 cards and the Effect Veiler. Well, that's the...
That's fine because it wasn't really doing anything now.
Yes, exactly. So he's survived the Dark Law. He still has 3 cards in hand. That's a Shurit.
Yeah, he can't do anything.
Is it? Yeah, he's got nothing. And there is the handshake. Valens Leteutre on the bubble in round 7 yesterday evening at YCS Prague wins against Yusenyu with some questionable plays, but today different person, had a good night's sleep apparently.
Yes.
And tearing through the fields, not dropping another match until the finals, where he clean sweeps Denise Beqiri, who before that kicked out players like Alpay Engin, Fabio Polito, the finalist of YCS Milan, and one more great player. Was it Marcello? No, it wasn't Marcello.
I believe he may have been in an early round, but Dennis is out, and Valens Leteutre has won YCS Prague with Burning Abyss.
Yes.
We saw a massive, huge Nekroz field, and just that one Burning Abyss that could just hold on into the top 8.
Yeah, that masked hero Dark Law made all the difference.
Absolutely.
Allowing him to claim the victory at YCS Prague. I'm at a loss for words, really. And you gotta feel grateful.